And welcome to another wonderful edition of the program, The Law, the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. Of course, you know, this program comes to you from 5 to 6 p.m. Every weekday, aside from Fridays, where we get to talk about government policies and, of course, how it affects the people. And, of course, we get to get the feedback from the people back to the government as well. But in the meantime, we've been talking about the elections in Nigeria for a while now. Nigeria has been, I wouldn't say in chaos, I would say it's not stable. Of course, Nigerians are very, very much interested in the result of the just concluded Saturday presidential and National Assembly polls. And, so many questions have arose as to INEC's credibility and, of course, the credibility of the beavers, the assurances the federal government and even the service chiefs and INEC as well gave to the people, owing to the fact that we had so many pockets of incidences here and there during the elections. Well, all of these issues are the things we are going to look at today, and of course we'll get to look at the place of the international observers in the elections as well, and also we get to look at the electoral guidelines, what it stipulates at the moment voting is concluded with respect to why the results were not uploaded on the IRF immediately they were counted. So these are the things we're going to look at. When we come back, we'll talk more. Meanwhile, as we are on the program, we'll also be going to the collation centers so we can get some information from there. My name is Rachel David White. We'll be right back.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by cross them. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
David White already talked about what we'll be talking about today. Of course, the stipulations of the electoral guidelines and, of course, the place of international observers. And with respect to why results were not uploaded on the IRF immediately they were counted. All right, so these are the issues we're looking at. There were arguments around whether results should have been transmitted electronically or not. Of course, we're looking at the whole process coming up electronically due to the fact that INEC had already introduced beavers, and Nigerians were well assured that it was going to be a smooth ride. But we had so many pockets of irregularities and incidences trickling in from almost everywhere, and there were issues from thuggery. We had issues of lack of party agents and polling units. We even have issues where some party logos were not available on ballot papers. So these are the issues we're going to address. And also, of course, this is one of the first time that Nigeria has a very, very huge number of international observers coming to monitor Nigeria's election. So it was presumed to be a very, very big turn for Nigeria to, bring a leader who will drive Nigeria for another 4 years. So we're going to take a look at all of this. Well, as usual, the program has people to talk to us, professionals in different fields. So we're joined here in our studio live by a human rights lawyer in the person of Barrister Martins Ukpe. Welcome, Barrister.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
All right, so also joining us virtually, we have in the person of Dr. Ademola Bayonle, all the way from US. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you once again. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you once again. He is a Guba candidate to Osun State, the 2022 polls. Well, Doctor, let me start from you now. I know you didn't vote, you weren't part of the voting process, but I'm looking at you from the observer's point now. Okay, so first, in your own view, what were your observations?
Wow, that's a lot of questions packed together. I think if I should start right now, we'll probably need to extend your program for another 3 days. I mean, this is a really messy election as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, it's not unpredictable. We have tested in Anambra, we have tested in Ekiti, we have tested in Osun. It seems that we have very similar patterns. We've had issues pre-elections. We've had same issues during the elections. Even right now, collating the result, we're seeing so many pockets of inconsistency. I think also the international observers have also, dented the credibility of this election a little bit. But let us keep our hopes high, and let us throw this out and say, you see, elections all around the world is always fraught with different pockets of issues. But you see, what baffles me is that we have a lot of intelligent Nigerians, and I think that year in, year out, we shouldn't be having these very mundane problems again. Now we've had a repetition of probably what happened in 2015 with God's Day Olubebe in the collation center, also happening with someone like Dino Melaye. We have the Beavers machine that's been promised to be the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end of our election that will clean all this up. Yes, but we're seeing the flaws right now. But like I said, you see, people from my own community will say, what will happen on Saturday? You start seeing the signs from Friday. We have seen that Beavers issue in Osun State, but it seems nothing was done about it. We've seen thuggery, we've seen vote buying, we've seen disenfranchisement, we've seen voter suppression, all kind of things. Nigeria was just a really big, different.
So we're hoping we're not going to see the issue of overvoting again like we had in Osun State.
Well, you see, if we look at the process of collation in this presidential election, I mean, it starts from the polling unit itself to the states and to the federal. So I mean, there are stop gaps in those areas that should have been caught. So I don't think in Abuja they should be talking about overvoting. All these results should have been cleaned up from the state level. If there's any overvoting, I just watched the Niger State results live, and of course, the places that had overvoting were cancelled. More than 30 something thousand votes were cancelled in Niger State due to overvoting. So, I mean, they've been able to clean up some of the processes.
Well, just a moment. Would you attribute that to, the Beaver's malfunction, or, well, we already established something here that we were promised that Beavers was going to be the alpha and omega, like you said, that the authenticity of that was going to be a strong one. So we were given assurances. So even when we had issue of overvoting in Osun State, of course, we were told that it wasn't, that was not because of Beavers. It was because the results were unsynchronized. So what would we attribute this overvoting that we had this turn again to?
There's a lot of human interference in our voting system. There's a lot of hand-to-hand. Do you understand? So let us understand that Beavers will just can catch overvoting. It's like a CCTV machine. It will tell you what is going on, but it's not going to prevent it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is what Beavers is like. Beavers will not say no. We are, send an amber light out and say, oh yeah, there's overvoting. No, it's a machine that will be able to tell us if it exists or does not exist. Now, why does it exist? The human error there. Of course, the human interference there. It is a human being that will come to the polling unit and will say that according to the Electoral Act, I can vote without a PVC because I have a temporary card. Blah 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 blah, and the person might force himself, depending on how many they have, might force himself on the presiding officer or the ad hoc staff there and vote. So those are the things that will cause overvoting. Sometimes I have also seen the ad hoc staff not educated enough about how to use this Beavers machine, and they do either here or there abracadabra, and they decide to either sideline the Beavers machine or use their own intuition around polling. And of course, when the result comes out, it will show that there are people who voted and were not accredited. So those are the issues. And there's a lot of human. What I'm looking for in 2026 in a civilized country is that, in fact, our voting and accreditation should be on the machine. If we sync it, there's probably the tendency to reduce that overvoting pattern. Because if they do not see probably your fingerprint or your facial recognition, then maybe your ballot paper will not come up on the screen. Then nobody is going to be voting. Do you get what I'm saying? So those are like changes that we'll probably learn from now for in 2026 or 2027. But most of it is due to human interference and error. Okay. It's not the machine. There's nothing wrong with the machine.
Okay. Well, before we come back to you, because we have lots and lots and lots of questions that we can't even digest today, let me get to the barrister. Now, let's tilt a little bit back to the electoral guidelines. Of course, we had things like election results were supposed to be uploaded to the annex servers immediately after collation at the polling unit. But we still had issues. We still had issues, of reluctances by ad hoc staffs to upload results, waiting for order from above before results are being uploaded and all of that. So let's just tilt a little into the Electoral Act. Would you say that this election, this just concluded polls, actually followed the guidelines that were given?
I would say no. The answer is very simple. The answer is no. I don't think we had any elections in Nigeria. We just had allocation of votes to political parties.
That was true. What would you say that? Of course, we had people voting.
The entire exercise that was conducted on the 25th day of February has no correlation with elections. It was just a process that the commission decided to stage on that very day to allocate votes according to their whims and their caprices and their wishes to political parties. The process had no, it has nothing to do with what the law prescribed. The Electoral Act 2022, given its legislative backing, has given its laid down procedures on how to conduct elections. Now, let's look at activities that has to do with post-election procedure and collation of an election result. The Act, Section 62, Sub 1, Sub 2, and Sub 3 specifically outlines what happens after voting. What does the law says? The Act in Section 62, Sub 1 says, after the recording and announcement of the result, the presiding officer shall deliver same, along with the election materials, under security and accompanied by the candidates or their polling agents, where available to such person as may be prescribed by the Commission. Now, Sub 2 says the Commission shall compile, maintain, and update on a continuous basis a register of election results to be known as the National Electronic Register of Election Results, which shall be a distinct database or repository of polling units by polling units result, including collected election result of each election conducted by the Commission in the Federation, and the register of election results shall be kept in electronic format by the Commission at its national headquarters. Needless of going to subsection 3. Now, what does it say? As we speak up till now, the Professor Mahmoud late commission has not been able to update the results as it promised in the database.
Would you blame that on INEC or rather on the party agents?
What business does the party agent have in the uploading of the result on the database? They don't have any business. They are just there to monitor and observe what is happening. The commission had 4 years to prepare for what happened on the 25th.
4 years?
Yes, your preparation for next election starts the very day you finishes the one election. Like, after this election, if the commission is up and doing, they should start preparations for 2027 elections. This is an election that has cost the nation's budget up to 300 billion naira. That is such a whooping amount of money. And as such, they have failed in the logistical arrangements, which there's a legislative backing for that. They have also failed in the technological arrangement, which they also have in their guidelines and even in the act. What else would Nigeria want from the commission apart from a very simple and fair process?
Well, coming back to, you ended with a free and fair process. You've already said that you can't give it to them. So from, let's say, from the whole collation issue, would you say Nigeria, this election was actually a free and fair? Let's not talk about the issue of credibility.
Are you asking if the process was free and fair? Is that what you're asking, Rachel?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know your own view of what a free and fair process could be when it has to matter with elections. For me, the election was marred by widespread irregularities, even when I personally thought there would be nothing like ballot box snatching, but it happened.
Okay.
It was marred by high-scale violence.
Talking about the issue of, ballot box snatching, we've had this issue, I think, since donkey years. We've had these issues. I can't count. Of course, you can bear witness that we've had these issues over and over and over and over again. So we thought we weren't going to have these issues again. Now, would you say that we had, with the promises that elections were going to be, conducted electronically, like almost all the process was going to be electronical, but it seems we are having much of the manual way of conducting election, not as promised by INEC.
Very well. The commission had promised Nigerians that they will, as soon as, in fact, not just the promise, we did not only rely on the promises, on the verbal vows made by the commission, we also relied on what the Electoral Act prescribed, which is electronic transmission of the result of vote. In my own unit, I voted and I waited till the end of the election. I expected that as soon as it is manually, the results are manually collated and announced, that the next thing will be to transmit the result electronically. Till the end of the process, election was never transmitted, the result was never transmitted electronically. And this is what you get from almost all the polling agents across my local government and even in my central district. In fact, what is filtering now is that this result have never been transmitted in any state. And up till yesterday in the evening, I watched the Situation Room, the National Collation Center. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu is telling Nigerians that the technologists are working on the system. Are you supposed to believe that? Are you supposed to treat a dead person? Is that not administering treatment on a dead person? Are you telling us that we should expect that after you might have finished with the process, announced whoever you want to announce, that is when you now review the result, that is when you now attend to the, that is when you now upload the result online? Is that what the law says? Is that what your guideline says? You brought out the guidelines. We never impose any guidelines on you. We only abide by the provisions of the guidelines that you brought out. And we believe that the election should follow the guidelines and the Electoral Act. That is the provision. Those are the two instruments that should be used in the conduct of election. Anything outside that is unacceptable. And the Mahmoud Yakubu-led commission is only making just on Nigerians. It's ridiculing Nigerians. I'm coming, Rachel.
Go ahead.
Yes, I was in 2007. I was in my SS3, and I did not vote. I don't think if I was an eligible voter, but I know very well I did not vote. But I voted in 2011. I voted in 2015. I voted in 2019. I also voted in 2023. I have participated in 4 elections. I want to tell you, Rachel, this is the worst election that have been conducted by an electoral commission in Nigeria.
I thought you would say 2007 was.
No, 2007 was just a tip of the iceberg.
Dr. Violet, I thought you would counter that.
We have seen the worst. This is the worst election, and how I wish, because Mahmoud Yakubu still have the time he has the time is there for him to work out this integrity test.
How do you think, if he has to work out the integrity test, what are the steps you would say he should take?
Very well. Of course, he has failed to transmit election results as prescribed by the law and the guidelines. Then there have also been widespread electoral violence reported in many states. There have been widespread irregularity. In fact, let me show you this. I said it earlier that there was nothing like election. Yakubu-led commission, INEC, is not collecting any results. They are just allocating results. Do you know that the result...
That's a strong allegation.
Yes, of course. I'm going to substantiate my allegations.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm a lawyer. And whatever I say, I should be held responsible for whatever I say. And I don't believe in speculations. Whatever I say it with facts and figures. The election result of Bauchi State is exactly the same result in Gombe State.
Yeah, that's actually true, though.
How possible is that? Is that an election? Go to Muhammad Buhari's unit. The election, the result is still the same. What happened in 2019 is still the same. What happened in 2023? APC scoring 500 and something votes in that polling unit, and PDP 3 votes. That is exactly what happened, and that is the same result that they are collecting today. So what are we talking about here? I am saying that there was nothing like election.
Okay, let's get to Dr. Demola.
All right.
What do you have to say in all this? At least I thought you would counter some things.
No, you see, I cannot fault his own reality. I cannot, his perception and the angle where it's coming from I cannot, because that is his own reality and that is how he's seeing it. It might be different from what I'm also seeing,
So let me get to know
which
what you're saying.
well, what I'm seeing is also a little bit similar to what he's saying, but I'm more on the optimistic side because I feel that our electoral process has actually been getting a little bit better over the years from 2007, like you said,
Mm.
to now. I mean, in 2019, we were talking about card readers. Now we're talking about beavers. Also, let's understand that our politicians are also not sleeping day in, day out. They are trying to gain this system. On our electoral act, just a little bit of adjustment to what he said. Yes, INEC had 4 years to plan this election, but let's remember that it was just February of last year that we had a new electoral act, and it was just passed into law. I think late February. I think our president just signed it, so they had about a year to plan, and they've had about 3 states to test it with. I think they even had a demo a couple of weeks back. So I mean, 1 year we can say we can argue back and forth if it's enough or not enough. We've had a lot of mundane, very things that should not happen. But I will say that I'll put on my hat of statistics here and I'll say, you see, when we hear something is a systemic error, meaning that the error is throughout the voting process. There's a way that it cancels out whatever inconsistencies that we're seeing. We've seen major parties involve and indulge themselves in so many irregularities, underage voting, over voting, voter suppression, using of thuggery, vote buying. Most of these parties have done the same thing. I think so. That's when I sit back and say it seems that this situation is a result of who is the most who wears the most incredible, or in what's it called, hat, who is the worst of them all, who can outbeat all of them. And you see, you cannot be pointing to a thief when you two are stealing. So I mean, the process can be better. Absolutely. And that's, I think, what the barrister is also saying. You see, in our electoral act, there's no beavers there. It just says electronic machine, electronic transmission of results, etc. You never see anywhere that it's beavers, because tomorrow it might not be beavers. They can change the name. So what we are using is probably out of the guidelines, which is not according to the law. In fact, if you do not transmit your election results, what is stipulated is not that they will cancel it. It says that I think the presiding officer or something will be fined. I do not see anywhere that says that the result of that area will be cancelled. Unlike if there's overvoting. If there's overvoting, it's clearly written there that the results from that polling unit will be cancelled. So I mean, our politicians too can also be smart. They like to gain our system here and there. And of course, I'm happy we have a lawyer in the house who can probably substantiate what I've said. I think our politicians are just trying to be corny and smart, and we're seeing them bypass that. And like I said, I saw a lot of agents too, a lot of presiding officer, adults that I don't even know what to do. A lot of pictures of people just holding the beavers and the result sheet, and they are asking them, why are you not uploading? And their feedback is very not consistent across. So I'm caught in between. Maybe they are not properly trained, or there's an anki panky trying to go on there. Nigeria is too brilliant for what is happening. Sincerely, I think we can do this in a better way, 100% better way. But we keep seeing politicians will not sleep. And if politicians will not sleep trying to gain the system, INEC should also not sleep. They should continue. But we've seen a little bit of consistency in them improving this process. I do not. I'm not even looking forward to collation officers and REC announcing results at polling at the collation center in Abuja. I think by now everything should be electronic, and we should know who is winning. Today is Tuesday, almost 4 days after election, and we have still not had the election. On Sunday, I heard INEC was going on recess, or they were going on break. They will resume back on Monday. I had to look around. I'm like, where am I? What's happening? Is this Nigerian election?
I think
What's going on?
this is one of the elections that is taking longer time to be for them to
Today is
announce the
Tuesday, and
winners.
that gap is too much for what we are saying. Electronic transmission of results.
But don't you think
I
they
do
just
not.
want to take their time to do what is right?
No, that's not what you don't need time. That's why we have electronic transmission of results. You are in Akwa Ibom as we speak. I'm in the United States of America. We are talking as if we're beside each other. If it's electronic transmission, there's no, I can send the result to you in real time
Of
and you'll be
course.
seeing it and be broadcasted live. If there's no corn in your pocket, like people have been saying all around on the internet, or if there's no anki panky in your pocket, you should not need to fly from Gombe State to Abuja to present the fiscal result before your result is announced.
That's
By
why I asked.
Sunday
It
night,
seems we're doing the manual way instead of the electronic way we were promised.
you see, that's also why we're saying that we have a lot of analog people leading us nowhere. You see, we have a lot of analog people leading us nowhere. Just few years ago, what we're doing today might not be possible. But now we can do teleconferencing all around the world. You can be anywhere and we talk in real life. We should be seeing those reflections also in our electioneering and even all our processes in Nigeria. How on earth are we doing collation for fraud? What are we collating? 36 states? What are we collating? And when you have that lacuna, a lot of impurities will start coming in. Do you understand? By Sunday night, these results should be live and out, and everybody. I mean, if that due process of Beavers taking the picture of the election result and transmitting it to the INEC server, if that was followed, if everything was followed as they have promised, by now the
I
winner
think
should know
Nigerians
himself.
would have helped count it as well. They would have helped collect the results.
There's no way. I mean, it's not Nigeria. You can't. In fact, you are not even allowed to move close to all those places. It is not a job of Nigeria. We have stakeholders that have been
No,
paid
no, I'm
to
talking
do this
about
job.
if the results were actually uploaded on the servers on time.
Oh yes, absolutely. We have so many tech-savvy people all around that are checking in real time, and in fact, all the party agents and party people are also on that server checking it in real time. Because if you're in Borno, you don't know what is happening in Maiduguri, in Niger State, in Oyo State, in whatever, in Kogi State. So we need a central base. But I don't like defending INEC, but sometimes I just want to shed some light in some of the things they do. You see, their server is essentially not the best place to get results immediately after election, because according to the Electoral Act that the lawyer read, it takes even 14 days. I think it's written there that it is in a continuous fashion. So, I mean, the upload and the whatever is in a continuous fashion. And that is what happened, like you said earlier, in Osun State, that some people went ahead, took the material out too early, and INEC is saying, we have not finished the collation. We have not synchronized the system. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have to be careful. I mean, we are in such an age, we have cloud facilities all around the world, but in Nigeria, we are still crawling. We're just doing things as if we're in the Stone Age. So, and if we're doing that, so many hands in this election, so many human hands in this election, it is bound for us to start looking at each other like there's anky panky somewhere going on. Yeah. So I mean, I concur with what the lawyer said. But again, I've seen the prediction of this election was not strange to me. We have APC, we have PDP, Labour Party, NNPP. The Labour Party candidates and NNPP candidates were candidates or were members of PDP before. So for me, my non-partisan heart, I thought and I believe that the PDP vote will be taken off, will be fractionated. It is, and that is what I've seen. So we can. That's why I said there's a systemic error. All these errors have happened so much that it even looks even out.
But
The Southwest. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, do you think that all of these issues that we really have in this year's election is because of the third force that just arose? I'm talking about the Labour Party. Of course, we can see that it's almost the first time in Nigeria that we are having a strong force come to fight the two parties that have always existed opposing each other.
I mean, it's not really the first time we're having a third force, but this is the first time we're having a really big
Yeah, a
third
stronger
force.
one, yeah.
And I won't even say is that it's just a little bit stronger than what we have seen. The
Yeah.
election result coming out right now, we're seeing that Labour Party, for instance, does not have the spread. They have a couple of states here and there that they have a quarter of the vote there, but they've not even been able to cross over the Niger to the north to have that 25%, 25 states as required by
Yeah.
INEC. But of course, we have seen them really hold their strong base in the southeast, in the south, and some areas, Taraba and Plateau and Benue and some other areas around them, that what they are doing, in fact, I will even say people in the APC, they are even probably happy about it. Because PDP, for instance, in 2019 election, we've not seen them really capture the north that much. It was really a predominantly APC state. So, I mean, it's helping the APC in a little way to fraction the PDP's power, take away the southeast and south from their area or from their power base, and leave them hanging. So I mean, it's just see NMPP, for instance. NMPP in Kano had almost 1 million votes. We are not looking for the presidency of Kano. We're looking for the presidency of Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah.
Outside Kano, there's really nothing else doing anywhere. So I mean, it has just helped break up the forces. And people have said, if we're looking to dislodge a party, everybody needs to come together to dislodge them, not start fighting in your own small areas and think that you can do that much. So the result, sincerely, is still predictive of what I've said in the past, that I think we're just giving one of this party a home run. It looks like they're just coasting home. You don't need to win. In fact, in election, in this, to be declared the winner, you don't need to win all the. You don't even need to win any state. You just need to have the highest number of votes, and you'll have to have two-thirds. What's it called? A quarter in two-thirds. So if you are trailing, if you're a good runner up in most of the states, and you are consistent across the south and across the north, you just chill and drink and be with the big boys, like they say. Yeah. So we're still looking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just before we come to Barrister, I'd like to tell the people that the phone lines are open, so you can be part of the conversation. Feel free to talk to us. I know there are so many angry Nigerians out there, but we're still pleading that they should keep calm. So when you call us, please try to be civilized and watch your words. Do not insult any office or its holder. So let's try to maintain peace. And wait for INEC to announce who takes Nigeria for another 4 years. Okay, so also we'll be returning to the Collation Center any moment from now. So back to you, Barrister. In all of this process that is going on, I know that, we've seen lots of footages, we've seen lots of things. I think the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, came out aggrieved, to talk to INEC. Although we've had the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, address that issue, telling him to not incite violence in Nigeria, but everywhere should be calm. In all of this, where do you see Nigeria?
Very well. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo coming out yesterday to make that statement on that letter, I think it's a voice of reason. It's a voice of caution. He's only appealing to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, appealing to the Professor Mahmoud Yakubu late commission, and to all the stakeholders, the key actors, to do that which is expected of them. Very well, it is crystal clear that this election has run short of the expectations of Nigeria. This is not what Nigerians expected. For the past years, Nigerians have never recorded the number of voter registration as compared to that of
Just a moment. I'm sorry to cut you. Let's take a call so we can address that. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening and welcome to the show. Tell us your name and your location.
It's Isa calling from Bauchi.
All right, Isa, go ahead.
So my own take is very simple. Both PDP and LP should blame themselves. If they should have united and come with full force, we should have a different story. But what is going on is just the reality of this election. Whatever they do separated, they cannot win this election. So we should just go back and re-engineer these people and work together toward doing what is right. That's the reality. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Isa. I really appreciate your contribution. All right, the phone lines are still open. You can be a part of the conversation by calling or sending us a WhatsApp message or a text message. All right, so back to you, Barrister.
Yes, we have seen results. We have seen mutilated results. We have seen results that have been cancelled and rewritten. We have seen a fixation of allocated results. We have seen so many things coming out from the INEC.
Okay, Barrister, I'd like you to also touch on what our callers talked about. You know, we've seen this issue, and some people are saying it looks like APC and PDP and LP are trying to, you know, come together to beat APC or to just calm that down. But just before then, let's take a call. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Welcome to the show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is, I'm calling from River State.
What's your name again?
My name is Promise. I'm calling from River State.
All right, go ahead.
I am on with you people, but I want to tell you, Nigeria of today is not Nigeria of yesterday.
Of course.
Somebody just called, I think, Adamaba, one of the states, I could not remember. Nigeria now does not vote party. Rather, Nigerians vote individual that can take the country from level 0 to a higher level. For different reasons. Number one reason, for our children and for unborn. If Nigeria today has been as it was yesterday, a lot of ordinary Nigerians wouldn't have been able to have the access to school door, not to get close to school door. Nigeria today is a Nigeria of politicians fighting enemies to enrich themselves and their children and put the ordinary Nigerians under their shoe. That is why Nigerians decided not to vote for party again, rather individual. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. We can hear you.
So nobody should deceive Nigerians that we are voting PDP, APP, QQQ, 00. Nigerians are voting for who can take us from level 0 to where we expect. That is why Nigerians decided, I told you I'm calling from River State.
Yeah.
The hardship in River State, I strongly believe, because I have traveled from different places or another, the same hardship Nigerians at the northern side are passing through or facing. That was why, like me personally, I've not voted in this country since I got my voter's card.
I hope you voted this time.
Because of this kind of act. But this is the first time, in part of the hardship that is posed on us, on the ordinary Nigerians, we trekked from our house to go to the polling booth and stood under the sun to cast our vote for a man who decided, and we knew that would take this country from level 0 to level something.
Your votes must count.
The party is Labour Party. Thank you, my people.
All right, thank you so much. Your vote is going to count this time. All right, so taking a look at this time, we just have 2 minutes to round off the show. So back to you, Barrister. Just your advice for Nigerians in a few seconds.
This is actually a very emotional time for me, and I think for many Nigerians. It's very emotional because we actually thought that INEC would give Nigerians, the average youth, the opportunity to change the narrative. I mean, we can't continue to allow these politicians to keep doing it their own way and having it their own way with such audacity. The absence of the presence of peace is not actually the absence of violence. It is the presence of justice. I am sounding this to the Professor Mamu Yakubu led INEC to please hold the process. This is my personal opinion that the process should be halted. Let him listen to the voice of reason. A lot of persons, former President Obasanjo, former military head of state Abdulsalam Abubakar, and other stakeholders and elder statesmen of the country have lended their voices
Okay, all right.
to Yakubu.
Thank you so
this
much.
process should be halted and the needful should be done.
All right. Okay, so back to you, Dr. Ademola. Just your few seconds. We're running out of time. Just your advice for Nigerians.
I feel that this election may have not gone the way we have expected. Our democracy is clearly growing, and as it is growing, our processes, we're trying to fine-tune it. What I would advise Nigerians is to remain calm and try to use the instrument of our system, the laws and the ETC, to fight the system. You cannot fight illegality with another illegality. Please, the life of anybody is not what being lost because of this election. Yes, our life is even already affected in different ways. We are looking forward to a great leadership and ETC. But let us sheath our sword. Let us use the instruments of the government to also fight the government. And this is our opportunity. Like I have said, this is our opportunity to clean up INEC. INEC has not done a great job. We clearly know that. This is our opportunity to clean up that system, and we should hold them accountable to anything they have done in this cycle. So
thank you so much.
Yes, don't go looking for any war. But yes, we can do it.
All right.
Let us hold them accountable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ademola Bayole, all the way from US, and thank you so much, Barrister Martin Zupe, who was live with us here in the studio.
Welcome.
All right, so we're glad that you could actually call to contribute on the show. We're sorry if we couldn't take your call, but the show continues tomorrow, so our election still continues. I will implore Nigerians to keep calm and, of course, expect that their vote will definitely count this time. My name is Rachel David White. See you tomorrow.